Okay, thanks for coming to New to Me RV slash 914. I live in Wisconsin and it's pretty cold to do any RV projects. So I thought I would do a few projects on the Porsche 914 that I have. So I was browsing through the internet to try and figure out how to replace and rebuild my rear brake calipers on my Porsche, and I didn't find very much. I found one really good site, which I'll link below, that tells you how to rebuild them, but then it doesn't go any further. So I am putting this together to show you a few pieces and parts that you'll need to know before you just go putting your brake pads in your 914. So I have the brake caliper, which I'm going to scan now. I have the brake caliper off the car, and you can see there is a little plug right here where I'm pointing, and that plug needs to be removed so you can gain access to the screw that's behind it so that you can adjust your distance between the brake pad and the rotor. So there's also one, and I'm going to flip it over. There's also one right here, and that adjusts the outer pad. Well, the outer one is pretty easy to get to on the car, but once the caliper is installed on the car, there is no distance here to get an Allen key in there to adjust it. And I'm going to take you over to the car and show you what Porsche's solution is. So there is a hole. Let me see if I can get some light shed on it. There is a hole in the trailing arm, and that hole is there so that you can gain access to adjust it. And they say that you can, remove the cap and go ahead and do the adjustment to the inside caliper and then put the cap back on. Yeah, well, I tried that. It didn't work out very good. So what I ended up doing is I ended up going and doing the adjustment with that screw cap off, taking the caliper off, putting the screw cap back on, and then putting the caliper back on, and then at least the inside brakes were adjusted. The outside, like I say, is something that's easy enough to do. So I put the cap back on, as you can see, and I'm ready to put the brakes back on to the car, which I'll do in a subsequent video. Realize that these pistons, the front and the back, can't be put in easily enough if you're putting on new pads. You need to adjust these to the new pads, and unfortunately you can't gain very good access to this part right here. The outside is no problem because you can reach that, but if you're putting new pads in this caliper, which I'll show in part 2 of this video, you'll be able to more understand what I'm talking about. So anyway, this is part 1 of 2 parts of me putting. I actually overhauled the brake caliper, and I'm going to put new pads on. So stay tuned for part 2. Thanks for coming to New to Me RV slash 914 during the winter.